Thank you guys. It's great to be back at Znode Grow. As Brennan said earlier too, I really like this, this format. There's lots of great opportunities for one-on-one conversations and networking. So thank you to the Amla and Znode team for putting together another great event. And also want to give a shout out to the hotel. It's been a great event, and just want to say thank you to the staff too. We appreciate what you're doing. But today I am here to talk to you about B2B research. And my name's Jessica Green, and I'm from Ntara. And we are a digital transformation firm that specializes in PXM, or product experience management. And that is how you optimize bringing your products to market. So we have very special expertise in PIM and DAM, and connecting those two systems, and also supporting your e-commerce experience. So if you're having trouble with your PIM, like we were talking about earlier, please come see us afterwards. We've got a lot of great expertise in that. We are also specialized in customer research. And as Tom was saying, I head up our strategic services department, and we've been doing customer segmentation studies for many, many years. And so these are just a few of the brands that we've worked with over the years with various PIM implementations, DAM implementations, e-commerce, as well as research. We were talking about data attribution earlier as well, and we also do a lot of data cleanup if you are struggling with website analytics, if that is all over the place and you need to aggregate all that data together. We do like to make really beautiful visual interactive dashboards that help stakeholders stay in touch with their analytics. So that's a little bit about what we do. And I'm happy to say we celebrated our 25th birthday this year, so we can finally rent a car in the US without a chaperone. So that's fun. So that's a little bit about Ntara. And I'm going to talk to you today about some of the research that we've done over the years. And earlier this year, we published our 2024 US manufacturers benchmarking study. So I'll call out a couple highlights from that quantitative study. Also going to touch on a few analyst reports and insights from trends that we're seeing in the market. And then, as Tom was saying, we have some updates and kind of teasers from our in-progress qualitative study on B2B purchasing. So when we wanted to go into this next research study, one of the first questions we needed to ask ourselves was, what does the ideal B2B buying experience look like? And so I kind of want to open it up to the audience actually and just ask what comes to mind, throw out a couple words that comes to mind for an ideal buying experience for a B2B buyer. Personalized?
An Amazon-like experience.
Amazon-like, love that. Anything else?
Fast.
Fast, that's great. I agree with all of those, and a lot of those expectations roll over from our B2C or our own consumer buying expectations, and that's just natural, it's going to happen. So if you're a manufacturer and distributor, that can feel overwhelming or daunting, especially when everybody compares to the Amazon experience. So you have to ask yourselves, how confident are we that we are meeting the needs of our B2B buyer? Because the B2B landscape is so unique depending on what your business model is. It seems like there is a different use case for every single scenario, whether you're a manufacturer, a distributor, or a dealer. All of those buying processes can be unique, and they all bring their own demands. So we are not limiting this research to just one industry. We are talking to a ton of folks to get perspectives from all over that value chain. But before we get into some of those insights, I want to talk about a few things that are driving the B2B experience. So, omni-channel buying. B2B purchasing has been omni-channel for a long time, if we really go back and think about it that way. But the expectations from the B2B buyer are really accelerating because there is so much data happening and being pulled in from so many different places. You can purchase over your phone, mobile, you want to go on the website, you want to talk with your sales rep still, and as manufacturers or distributors or dealers, you have to make sure that you are providing a great experience there. Forrester tells us in a recent study that B2B buyers have an average of 27 touch points before they purchase. That is a ton. And again, you want to make sure that you're providing an experience for every single one of those touch points, whether it is automated and served up, or if it's that human connection. And Salesforce, in their 9th edition of their State of Marketing report, shared that the high-performing companies who feel that they state they're high-performing, they are personalizing over at least 6 different channels, fully personalizing those experiences. And the lower-performing ones are just doing about 3 different channels. So there's a lot that goes behind that. We can't forget that. And as I was saying, the data in general is coming from all over now. And the more data that B2B buyers are sharing with you, the higher their expectations are. Again, the more data they share with you, the higher their expectations. You have to serve up a personalized experience for them. But there are challenges behind that. If you're feeling like your data is very siloed and it's hard to aggregate it all together and make sense of it, you are not alone, because only 31% of marketers actually feel like they have a unified customer data source and they can actually make sense of their data. So we certainly have empathy there. And then lastly, personalization is, again, it is at the top of the demands from B2B buyers, and 72% of those folks are expecting fully personalized content and experiences there. So to accomplish a great B2B buying experience, we have to analyze things from every angle in the value chain. So we want to talk to everybody in this study. And in particular, brands and manufacturers really prop up a lot of important things about the end buyer's experience. And so it's really important that the OEM or brand or manufacturer is doing their best to provide data to their downstream partners, whether that's dealers or distributors, and connecting all of those points so that the buyer has a really seamless experience. So if you find yourself in that value chain, please come talk to me after if you want to participate in our study. So here's a couple insights from our report from earlier this year. So we asked manufacturers, and this was from 158 unique different brands and manufacturers responded to this quantitative study. And we asked them, what is the biggest opportunity for improving how you bring your products to market? And the UX practitioner in me was so delighted to see that improving user experience is the #1 opportunity that they stated. And then following that up, increasing automation. Of course, we certainly want to do that and save time and be more profitable. Improving multi-channel syndication, because it's omni-channel everything now, and improving their data analytics. So we wanted to kind of look at the other side of this in this qualitative study because it's really important to have conversations with folks. All of the quantitative data is extremely insightful, but we wanted to dig in and have follow-up conversations with the folks who participated in that study, and in particular look at the B2B side. So we have to ask ourselves, what are manufacturers doing to better support their dealers and distributors? And these are a few highlights from the interviews that we've had, as well as going back and analyzing interviews that we've had with folks who fit in this, who fit in manufacturing and distribution from all the studies that we've done over the years. So flexibility is one of the most important things that manufacturers can provide to their dealers and distributors. Like I was saying earlier, the business models are so unique for every single distribution or dealer partner that you have. They want to operate a certain way. They might want to process their invoices or transactions a certain way, and you have to be flexible enough to work with them. And it'll be different depending on the size of the distributor or dealer. So having that flexibility and being open to work in different ways is going to be important. Next, providing the tech. So depending on the size, some distributors might be small family-owned companies that don't have the resources on hand to prop up a great e-commerce experience, for instance. So as a manufacturer, if you can help facilitate that, like in the B stores example, that can really provide a lot of value to them. So they don't take on the technical burden, but they can still be a part of it and gain value from that. And then also allowing dealers to customize their product catalogs, whether that's unique pricing or different territory demands or requirements. Again, being flexible, allowing them to do business their way so that they feel supported and they don't feel like the manufacturer is coming around them and trying to take business from them. And then in terms of increasing automation, a lot of folks that we've been talking to just acknowledge how important it is to share more data together from the manufacturer and distributor. Some distributors at first may not want to share their customer data until they feel reassured that the manufacturer is not going to be, going around them to take business, right? But the more integrations that you can have with them, the more seamless the B2B buying experience can be, because you're not stuck waiting and manually having to ask for information from the manufacturer. And then we started asking these manufacturers, what are you doing to support the B2B buyers downstream? So again, integrated data. So order tracking in particular, we've had several conversations with buyers who have pain points around a lack of information or updates on the orders that they've placed. Being able to easily go back and check their order history, reorder things. If this is a really routine ordering, make sure your e-commerce experience has these features. And it seems obvious, but there are a lot of big companies that that you would expect to have great experiences for B2B purchasing that are really lacking in some of these areas still. And then the other area that I think some of the leading manufacturers and brands we're talking to know the value of gathering their own data and researching their customers closely, whether they have a direct relationship with the B2B buyer or if they have to do that in partnership with their distributors and dealers to get a little closer. But investing in research is something that they know is going to improve the end experience. In our study earlier this year, we also asked manufacturers, what is your biggest threat for making improvements in how you bring products to market? And perhaps there's, you guys can empathize with this, but a lack of resources, lack of dedicated team members, that can be a real challenge. If you want to invest in a great e-commerce experience, make sure you have the team to support that and the subject matter experts that you can develop in-house to support that or partner with somebody. Lack of reliable data and analytics, and also silos between departments. So I think we can all recognize these and empathize with these threats. Next up, we wanted to talk to dealers and distributors as well and hear straight from them on what they need from their manufacturers in order to provide a great B2B buyer experience. And some of these interviews have been fun. I always enjoy qualitative research because I appreciate when people can be candid and open about what they need and what can be improved. So this one here from this interview, it seems like every day there's some new tech we're required to do business with. Or to do business with our brands. And they're really talking about the burden of having to learn a new system again. So if you are considering updating your e-commerce experience for your dealers and distributors, or you're investing in it for the first time, the takeaway here is really to make sure that you are communicating with them, bringing them along, gathering their requirements, and hopefully you get it right the first time, so that they can adopt that new experience and be onboarded to it as seamlessly as possible. Some of the things that are causing friction for dealers and distributors include poor product search experiences. So if your site search or the way that you can explore product categories is convoluted, that's going to be frustrating for the dealers and distributors, as well as your B2B buyers that are using the site. But these dealers and distributors want to be able to quickly reference the product data that they need, be sending it to their customers and making more sales. And if your site is not serving up the results that they need quickly, that's frustrating. Another area, disconnected data. Again, I keep coming back to that because so much of our expectations are driven by data connections. So this can be a lack of order updates, a lack of shipping or tracking information if the manufacturer is doing the fulfillment. So there were several examples of just disconnected data points. So what they want more of, I said, okay, well, what can manufacturers do a better job of for providing a great B2B experience? They said, we need more product data and more marketing, more. Help us by providing everything that we need to do better business with our B2B buyers. And they want a really strong and intuitive site search, and I'm glad to say that the version 10 features that were teased yesterday at Partner Day, they've got some great stuff coming for the site search, so that's exciting to see. And another takeaway here is just less places to go. For really old businesses, they might have several different platforms that have been strung together over the years, and dealers and distributors want to go to less places to get their jobs done. So if you can consolidate the places where they have to go search for information, the better there. And they also said, hey, yeah, tech support's very, very valuable for us too if we don't have that on staff. And of course, training. So when we've walked our own clients through this process of digital transformation, we always want to call on their value chain partners to make sure that everybody can, again, share their user requirements, but also understand the value that's coming. So in particular, when dealers and distributors are embracing an e-commerce situation with their manufacturer for the first time, we have to make sure that we are telling that value story very carefully and clearly so that they know, hey, this new portal situation that we are adopting, you're still going to be in business, you're still going to get sales. It's just going to make your life easier so that you can go out and win more accounts and more customers. And then in the case of the B stores as well that are starting to be adopted more and more, and not to get too off topic, but in more than one of our interviews, these B2B buyers have explained, oh, I wish there was a situation where I could just go and send my customers to only buy such and such. And one woman said, that probably doesn't exist. Nobody would want that. And I'm like, oh, that actually does exist. And it was an exact scenario for B stores. So there's definitely demand there that we're hearing about. But anyway, all this to say, it is especially important that when you are working with dealers and distributors that you're telling this value story very carefully. And with the dealer interviews and such that we've had, I asked, okay, what's the long-term vision? What does that perfect B2B buying scenario look like? Well, the B2B buyer would place their order, and whether that's being fulfilled by the dealer or distributor or the end manufacturer, all of the data points are automated. So you place an order, you're going to get instant order confirmation, you're going to have that invoice attached quickly, you're going to have tracking and shipping quickly updated. All of these things are automated, but they feel very seamless. And that's the expectation that Amazon has set for everybody. So when there are snafus in this process, if you will, like back orders, there are a lot of scenarios that we're hearing about where the manufacturer is not sharing enough information with the dealer and distributor, and then they in turn cannot support the B2B buyer on the end. So these scenarios in particular are where those data point connections are so important to get right. And they want to have almost like the Domino's pizza tracker experience, or those awesome updates that you have from Amazon where it's saying it's 10 stops away. Your package is 10 doors down, or whatever that is. I had a recent experience myself when my HVAC went out in Atlanta in the summer, and I had to put in a work request for a local AC company. I called them immediately after the phone call. I got a text message confirming that I had made a request, and then I got another one. Okay, great, we'll see you on Tuesday between 4 and 7 p.m. or something. And we will reach out to you 1 hour beforehand to confirm that we're coming, and then you'll also learn who your tech person is. right on the dot, 1 hour before, I received another text message. I received a picture of Edward, who ended up being my savior that day. And so I knew what he looked like, I knew when to expect him, and then he called me directly too. So it was just a really seamless experience that reassured me that they're coming and I know exactly who's going to be in my place. And then afterwards, when he left, I received the invoice via text message that I had just signed and paid for. And then they checked in on the next day for follow-up as well. So it was a really wonderful experience, but the dealers and distributors that I've talked to want this for their buyers as well. So in that scenario, they could be sending out somebody to do tech service on a large piece of equipment, and that tech service rep needs to be informed, and the end buyer who needs that service needs to be informed in the same way. So that's really the expectation there. And we know that's easier said than done on the back end. So make sure that you are writing down all those requirements and working with really smart partners who understand the technical requirements behind that. Next up, I want to go into the B2B buyer perspective itself. So all of us have probably been a B2B buyer in some form or fashion throughout our careers. And we all have expectations there. So some of the themes that we're hearing so far are just make it easy to do business with you. Don't make me work hard to get a hold of you or find information. Give me that easy button, please. And also, reach out. I don't want to lose my connection with you. Even if I can self-serve on the website or whatever it may be, I don't want to lose that contact that I have with my sales rep. Especially in dire moments of need, I need to know that you're there and I can pick up the phone and call you. And when I've asked, what's the best B2B buying experience that you've had, it's when there is still follow-up from their sales rep. So they feel important, they feel supported. So there's a lot of reassurance there that sales rep role is still very, very important. And then others have said, the manufacturer could train my staff directly. That would be very valuable, understanding your products better, making my employees happy, getting them certified. So there's still a lot of needs there that the manufacturer can provide. When I asked about, well, describe your worst experiences that you've had. So that's when the fun flavor comes out in some of these interviews. So the first one here is a small business owner. So they consider a $30,000 purchase very significant for their business. And in this scenario, the manufacturer that they were purchasing from made it impossible to get in touch with them. And he's spending tens of thousands of dollars and can't get somebody on the phone. And then they've kind of fumbled the onboarding experience for that equipment afterwards as well. So being able to get in contact quickly with somebody when you're making a significant purchase is obviously important. Several folks have also called out like disconnected data or missing data, incorrect pricing or different prices between their print catalog and then what's on the website, for instance. So a lot of just opportunities to improve data integration in general. And this one scenario on the right, this buyer is routinely buying supplies for their office and their team in various departments. And she knew that they had these other products that she could buy. She's bought them before. She can see it in the print catalog, but half the products are not even on the website to place an order. So she had to dig out their phone number, call them and say, hey, can I actually purchase these things? And they're like, yeah, of course you can. Well, it's not on the website. So that is causing her to be frustrated and have to manually reach out and do the heavy lifting herself. And also, if she didn't know about those products, it's just a lost opportunity for another purchase and making her cart even bigger. This next one is interesting because it's from a very large brand that I think is quite well known for great user experiences. But in this scenario, this was from a software company, and she was the purchasing manager for all of their devices that they have to use. And she was describing I said, okay, tell me about your worst B2B buying experience and what could they do better? And she was like, oh, they could do everything better. It's so frustrating. When I submit my order, I don't get any information or invoicing until it ships. And then if it's back ordered, I don't even know it. I have to call them manually. And then not getting her invoice until it ships causes issues with her accounting department. And then when she does finally try to find that invoice, it's completely disconnected from her order details. So she's having to go to 3 different places inside this portal. And there's also not helpful information on, you know, volume discounts or whatever she is eligible for her business account to make purchases. So what company is that, you ask? That is Apple. Apple is so well known for their user experience on their devices, but they can't even improve their B2B portal. I was very surprised by that. So what did she say was her best experience? Prime business. She loves it. It's easy. All her order, you know, her invoicing and order details are very easy to find. Shipping addresses, she can build lists over time. She can also do some level of approval workflows. So if she needs somebody else to go in and build a list and build a cart, and then it gets sent to her for approval. So it just makes her life easier. And very clear information about inventory and discounts as well. And this, I loved this next one. So this is from a small business, because again, we're talking to people all over the industry, different sizes as well. So whether you're a small business or you're a huge software company that's making purchases, all of these are B2B buying experiences. So in this case, this is a small business owner who has 5 locations, and they install fences. And I was starting to ask, hey, what's your best buying experience? And he was just delighted to tell me about it, because this supplier that they have been using for years has provided a really great online experience where you can just visit the web on your desktop or your mobile app, and he can start adding all of the supplies that he needs for his 400 odd projects that he has to do to make sure all of the fencing materials are on time to all these projects. And they have invested in a visual cart configurator that is like a truck or a shipping container, and it has all of the weights and dimensions, and you visually build your truck, so you're maximizing everything in your cart and reducing your shipping cost. And so they've gamified the shopping experience, which I think is so genius, because you're motivated to fill that up, and you're motivated to spend less on shipping, of course. And then it also helps the manufacturer spend less on shipping, if you're optimizing when your deliveries are happening and how many is in that truck. So I just thought that was such a great example of how you can make that shopping experience that is, sometimes just mundane, a little bit more delightful for the B2B buyer. Okay, so those are a few of the highlights from the interviews that we've had thus far. So again, the themes that we're seeing here: make it easy and seamless to do business with for your B2B buyer. So you need to invest in automation and data integration that can prop that up so that your people can not have to dig for information and do manual updates when this could be automated for them. And then obviously automated for the end buyer. Personalization is key. So make sure that you are collecting user data, whether that's conducting research or analyzing your website analytics, your CRM data, etc. So dig into that and make sure that you are charting out a realistic personalization plan that you can execute really well. And then lastly, access to information. So invest in connecting your systems and your partners so that they are empowered to do the best business downstream. If you have found this valuable and you would like to participate, you can scan this QR code, or if you have customers that you think would want to participate in the study, please feel free to forward that to them as well. Again, we are interviewing manufacturers, distributors, suppliers, and B2B buyers themselves, and I'm not limiting it to any industry right now.
Thank you.
Thank you all.